Okay, Shakespeare class, English 373, Shakespeare. I'm talking to you from a new undisclosed location. I live in an extremely small New York City apartment, and the apartment is not in an apartment building. Um, and so I don't have a washer dryer in the apartment, but also I don't have like a washer dryer in the building. So I have my parents are not home at their Upper East Side apartment, so I have retreated into the my parents' swanky house, well, apartment anyway. So doing laundry, and I've been doing laundry for 15 hours because I have like 10 weeks worth of laundry. Because it's not like I did my laundry like you know right before COVID started. So I had weeks of laundry built up. Plus, and then there was no way to do laundry. I mean, I could have gone to a laundromat in my neighborhood, but I was like, man, you're supposed to stay away from people. I don't know. So anyway, new location. Um, and we're wrapping up class. We really only have two more of these video sets left, although I'm going to have a conclusion, kind of, sort of to the course. Um, but this is, I thought normally what I think I would have done in class if we had been in this situation in real life is we would have watched Midsummer Night's Dream, and it's like a 90-minute movie, so we would have spent like one class period on it, and then we would have the next class period to talk about what a fun movie that was, and just like talk about some of the basic themes that made it fun, and it would have been a nice, fun way to end class. But it's very silly to have you guys watch a whole movie so that I can do like, 4 videos on it. So that seems it's a fun way to end class because it's like class is just went over. Let's watch a very fun, charming movie and move on. If you're interested in Midsummer Night's Dream, by the way, the version stars a woman named Maxine Peake. So if you go find that version, that's the one you want. And Maxine Peake, her last name is spelled Peake. And it's pretty fantastic. But I'll let you guys deal with that on your own. It's a very fun movie. Anyway, so as a different way to sort of end the semester, I'd like to look at a Shakespeare poem. And normally you'd probably be expecting it would be one of the sonnets because they're quite famous. Um, Shakespeare also has 2 early poems that he wrote in his career that became extremely famous. He's got 146 sonnets. But he also wrote 2 early poems, The Rape of Lucrece and Venus and Adonai. I don't really know those poems very well. I should probably check them out. They're kind of early Shakespeare, and so I should probably take them more seriously than I do. But stuff from the very beginning of his career, I'm just looking to like, Shakespeare wrote too much stuff. So if there's an excuse I'm like, yeah, people aren't really raving about that one. So I didn't really run around and go do it. So I don't really know much about those poems. The sonnets I know real well because they're awesome. A little brainy, but they're awesome. What I decided to give you guys today is an obscure Shakespeare poem. It's called The Phoenix and the Turtle. Most people do not know. Most people do not know The Phoenix and the Turtle. It's a very, for a couple of reasons. For starters, it's a really difficult poem. Um, I hope you noticed that you were able to understand and make sense of a lot of the Shakespeare language after taking this class. But The Phoenix and the Turtle is like, holy shit! You read that for the first time, and I don't. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I don't know what any of these people are talking about. So it's a very difficult poem. It's short. It's short. It's like 60 lines, and there's only like 3 or 4 beats per line. So it's short. It's a very short poem. But it's and I'm gonna have there's a copy of it on this blog post, right? So I'm gonna cut and paste the entire. I'm gonna put some more lights on. I don't know how to work these. Like that. Hey, there you go. So it's a cut and I'm gonna cut and paste the poem, so it'll be right there for you on the internet on the blogs. The other thing about this poem that I find fascinating, and this is a little silly, but I first came across it in a Batman comic book, and I'll show you a little bit about that Batman comic book. But I first came across it in a Batman comic book where Batman is fighting the bird-themed supervillain, the Penguin. And basically Tom King in this issue of Batman puts every single word of this poem, 60 lines, into a Batman comic book, all spread out while Batman's kicking ass and fighting people. And it's a poem about bird love. And the Penguin, who is a bird-themed supervillain, is mourning the loss of his wife, and he uses parts of the poem on the graves. And I read the poem in the Batman comic book, because it's about birds and love and tragedy. Although I think secretly it has a happy ending, so I'll talk about that later. But it's a sad poem about birds in love. And because Penguin is sort of like a bird-themed supervillain and he's in love, the poem shows up in this Batman comic book, and it's kind of cool. But one of the things that shocked me when I read it is like I read a lot of Shakespeare plays, I know Shakespeare real well, and the comic book printed the whole poem, but like I had trouble understanding it. I was like, this is a fucking hard poem to understand. What the fuck is happening in this poem? And then I went on the internet, Google search, like you guys would do, right? You go Phoenix and Turtle analysis, Phoenix and Turtle explanation, Phoenix and Turtle summary. And all of the summary and explanation that I found on the internet was fucking trash. Which is, people, you just assume everything you want is on the internet. And there is a lot of cool stuff on the internet, but there are limits. There are real limits to what the internet can make available to you. So with that in mind, I'd like to kind of take a look at the poem. So first, I think I'm just going to read the poem, and it's not going to make a lot of sense. And then we're going to go over it, and then it is going to make a lot of sense. So the first thing you need to know, though, is there's a lot of vocabulary words in here that you will not know. They're very difficult words in here. But the first thing you're going to need to know is the poem is called The Phoenix and the Turtle. When you hear turtle, you are going to picture the hard-shelled reptile, but that is not correct. Turtle here means turtle dove. It is a kind of bird, like a dove. It's a perfectly normal bird. Turtle dove is a bird. The phoenix is kind of a mystical bird. It's not a real bird. If you know Harry Potter, the phoenix is the animal that Dumbledore keeps. So let's take a look at the poem, and it's gonna be difficult to follow, but then we'll take a look at it. So let's go over it. Hey, that works pretty good. All right, Phoenix and the Turtle. Let the bird of loudest lay on the sole Arabian tree herald and sad trumpet be, to whose sound chaste wings obey. But thou shrieking harbinger, foul precurrer of the fiend, augur of the fever's end, to this troop come thou not near. From this session interdict every fowl of tyrant wing, save the eagle, feathered king. Keep the obsequy so strict. Let the priest and surplice white, that defunctive music can be the death divining swan, lest the requiem lack his right. And thou treble-dated crow, that thy sable gender makest, with the breath thou giv'st and takest, mongst our mourners shalt thou go. Here the anthem doth commence. Love and constancy is dead. Phoenix and the turtle fled in mutual flame from hence. So they loved, as love in twain had the essence but in one, two distincts, division none, number there in love was slain. Hearts remote, yet not asunder, distance and no space was seen twixt this turtle and his queen, but in them it were a wonder. So between them love did shine, that the turtle saw his right, flaming in the phoenix sight, either was the other's mine. Property was thus appalled, that the self was not the same. Single nature's double name, neither two nor one was called. Reason, in itself confounded, saw division grow together. To themselves, yet neither simple were so well compounded, that it cried, how true a twain seemeth this concordant one. Love has reason, reason none, if what parts can so remain. Whereupon it made this threne, to the phoenix and the dove, co-supremes and stars of love, as chorus to their tragic scene. Theranos. Beauty, truth, and rarity, grace in all simplicity, here enclosed in cinders lie. Death is now the phoenix nest, and the turtle's loyal breast to eternity doth rest, leaving no posterity. 'Twas not their infirmity, it was married chastity. Truth may seem, but cannot be. Beauty brag, but 'tis not she. Truth and beauty buried be. To this urn let those repair that are either true or fair. For these dead birds, sigh a prayer. What the fuck? What the hell is that poem about? I can't tell you how angry I was as a person who loves Batman, who loves Shakespeare, who saw the poem printed in a Batman comic book, and I was like, wow, a Shakespeare poem in a Batman comic book, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then I was like, what the fuck does that poem mean? And why can I not figure it out quickly since it's in a fucking Batman comic book and I am a fucking Shakespeare person? It should be able to, it's a very difficult poem to follow. Some of it's the vocabulary, the sentences are unusual, there's some odd mythology being used in ways that I was unfamiliar with, but I learned it. I just wanted to know it because it was in a Batman comic book. I'll show you the comic book in the next video. And then we're going to go over the poem and you'll understand the whole poem. And then we will be done studying texts from Shakespeare in this class. I'll see you guys in the next video.